Namaste and hi friends, it's Parvati here with Visionary Veda, bringing you your Vedic Astrology full moon report for this November 18th and 19th, 2021. In this full moon report, we will go over the energies at play during this very potent and powerful full moon eclipse. And we'll talk a little bit about how these energies can be playing out in your life. So let's get started. So on November the 18th or 19th, depending on where you are in this big, beautiful world, we will be experiencing a partial lunar eclipse in the sidereal sign of Taurus in the Nakshatra of Krittika. Krittika Nakshatra is also known as the star group called the Pleiades. Now, in Vedic astrology, we take into account not only the sidereal zodiac, which shows exactly where the planets are in the sky, in which constellation they actually are, but we also take into account the fixed stars or the nakshatras, which are tied to the Vedic constellations. They're actually tied to the constellations in the zodiac belt, not just the Vedic ones, okay? The Vedic ones are the same as the Western ones, but we just have different techniques and ways of reading the influences of the planets and the constellations. Anyway, this full moon is not only going to be very powerful because it's an eclipse, but it's also the area of the sky where the moon itself gets exalted. So it is the highest, strongest point for the moon itself. And if we weren't having an eclipse along with this full moon, then this is one that can bring you incredible insights into yourself and into what steps and actions need to be taken in order to gain more security within yourself or also within your life. The eclipse energy is going to continue. The fact that the moon is full, it's going to go ahead and bring you this insight. But Rahu, being part of this eclipse, is going to lend a sense of urgency. So the biggest thing to be aware of here is to not take any drastic actions just because you think you're going to feel more secure or you feel insecure, because those feelings may not be grounded in reality. So really take a few days. The best thing to do is to not make any drastic decisions until January, because in 2 weeks' time we're going to be having a solar eclipse on December 4th in the sign of Scorpio, which also has to do with insecurity, right? And when the eclipse energies are at play, they could be messages that are not necessarily 100% rooted in reality, okay? It could be based on unconscious fears that might not necessarily be true. So if you can wait to take any kind of an action, then it would be best to wait until January, because we're going to also have planets transiting through these eclipse points, which can make these points also be activated. And in January, we're going to be clear of all of that. The deity of the Nakshatra Krittika is Agni, or fire. And the planetary ruler of Krittika is the sun. Krittika, or the Pleiades, but Krittika literally means to cut. So you're going to feel compelled in some way, shape, or form to cut things out of your life in order to feel a sense of security and stability. Now, how is this going to manifest? Now, the way it manifests, the way any of these planetary energies manifest, depends on your chart and where your planets are in your birth chart. So that's the first thing to take into account. It also depends on what house this is happening in. So for example, if Taurus is your 4th house, you might feel like you need to move or change things in your home to feel more secure. If Taurus is in your 10th house, you might feel that you need to change your job or do something in your job to make you feel more secure. You might feel the need to grasp things or cut things away. And again, that impulse might not be real. It might be imagined. And the quality of the insights that you're getting during this time, because the moon is full and exalted, so the insights could be true. It could be something beneficial for you, actually. But because Rahu is in the mix, just wait to see, because anything that is valid, it will be valid after a certain time as well. Okay, there's usually no need to take immediate swift action, especially around and on and during eclipses, because we might not be getting the full picture. Another way to tell how these qualities or how this energy is going to come through you is by examining the gunas. The gunas are the energies or the quality of energies in everything and everyone, including human beings, including Mother Nature, including the planet, including our consciousness, okay? Including the elements. So there's 3 main gunas. There's tamas, rajas, and sattva. And these 3 gunas is sort of the filter through which we experience the energies of the planets, and also how we filter our realities, all right? And it depends on what we are doing and what we are practicing and what we are cultivating that brings these gunas into play. Okay, they're always at play, but they're always changing, and all 3 of them are active in us in one way or another. If we are more coming through a tamasic guna, or seeing life through a tamasic lens, this full moon can be making us feel feelings of paranoia, or of like really deep fear, or also of hostility, thinking that somebody else is causing us to be insecure, or something outside of us has more power than we do. Okay? The way it's described oftentimes is of like a lake. And think of a lake that has been churned up underneath, and all the muck and the mud and the debris of the lake is churned up, and so it's opaque. So that when the light of the moon is shining on this lake is unable to reflect the light, right? And this is more how tamas guna is described. So one operating out of tamas is not aware of their power yet, and they are fearful, and they can lash out at this time to others, thinking that other people are trying to harm them or hurt them. And in reality, it's a deep-seated insecurity that's coming out through the filter of tamas, okay? So that is a tamasic sort of reaction to this upcoming full moon. And then you have a rajasic sort of reaction. And the way that's described a lot of times is that same lake, and it's not churned up anymore, it's settled. But there's disturbances, there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of wind, there's a lot of motion happening, chaos happening. So you see the reflection of the full moon, but you see many, many, many little full moons on the lake. So that reflection isn't clear, it's disturbed, it's confused, it's chaotic. Those who are operating through a Rajasic sort of filter will desire things to make them feel more secure. So they may desire more money, they may desire more relationships, they may desire more resources, or they might feel to cut off certain things in order to feel secure. They might think that a relationship is making them feel insecure, or a job is not secure, or their resources are at stake, so they got to do something. They have to change something. They have to fix something, and fast, in order to feel secure and stable. All right? The third guna is the sattva guna. And those who have been practicing or looking into different modes of either spiritual practice or self-awareness work, or work having to do with learning how to elevate our consciousness and really come from a place of peacefulness and tranquility, right? It's like the lake that is sattvic is completely still and calm. There's no disturbances, there's no muck underneath that's being churned up. And this completely still lake is like a clear mirror to the light of the moon. And in this sort of illustration, the light of the moon is the light of consciousness, right? So it's a very clear and still lake, which mirrors that. And so those who are coming from a more sattvic place can see within them different qualities that they can either cut off or they can cultivate, or that they desire to cultivate, whether it's more patience, more gratitude, or cutting off like their judgment, or cutting off their like quick responses, cultivating space between their reactions, whatever that may be. But those coming from a sattvic space will see clearly the next steps that they need to take for themselves. And they're not going to base their feelings of security based on any outside factors. They're going to learn how to cultivate their inner security, their inner sense of worth, their inner values. Okay, so because it's an exalted moon, the insights can be of benefit, but just keep in mind we might not be seeing the full picture, right? And this is why I encourage everyone to wait on acting on whatever insights that you do get. They won't invalidate the insights, but they just might not be the full picture. Now, in 2 weeks' time, we're going to have a solar eclipse. And this total solar eclipse is going to be happening in the sign of Scorpio, opposite Taurus. Also having to do with insecurity, right? Scorpio, the deep unconscious. It's going to be in the Nakshatra of Jyeshta. Jyeshta Nakshatra is symbolized as the eldest. So this can bring to light a lot of our ancestral imprinting that we are unconscious of, right? And it can come into our view. The other quick little thing I want to say about this solar eclipse, I will do another video on it, but just really quickly here. The sun is going to be eclipsed by Ketu. So the sun is the leaders or those in authority. And in the sign of Scorpio, it can show a playing on one's deep unconscious fears, okay? It can show not straightforward information. And there could be decisions made by leaderships and authority that is manipulative, that plays on our unconscious fears of security as well. Ketu, especially being part of the solar eclipse, shows tactics that have been used in the past, right? And it's an age-old tactic of those in power to stay in power, to play and manipulate your fears, okay? So just be aware of that. I'll go more into that in my next video. So I hope that was helpful. Let me think if there's anything else I can add here as far as the energies. Oh, Jupiter, one day after this eclipse, is changing signs into Aquarius. Now, Jupiter is giving its fifth aspect to this eclipse, and it's not going to be that strong because it's on its way out of Capricorn, right? So energetically, it might not be as potent as if it was giving its full drishti or its full aspect, but it's still there. So Jupiter can also show us what we need to cut off, Krittika, right, in order to elevate ourselves. Now, Krittika in the Vedic system is known as the 6 or 7 nurses, right? The Pleiades, the nurses or the caretakers of Lord Kartikeya. Lord Kartikeya is the son of Shiva and Parvati and the brother of Lord Ganesha. He's known as the god of war. So be very vigilant. You will see people reacting, again, according to the guna that they've been cultivating. It could be very hostile in that cutting off. You might be on the receiving end of that cutting off, right? Just understand that is misplaced aggression and give it time. It will pass rather quickly, as lunar eclipse energies don't hang around as long as solar eclipse energies do. But from the higher aspect, internally, from a sattvic point of view, it could be forfeiting yourself for what is to come. Seeing other people's insecurities being at play, or their need to feel secure being at play, and needing to fortify and nourish yourself so that you can fight the good fight, not just the paranoid fight, not just the fearful fight, because anything done out of fear is not going to come out in the best way. Anything done out of fear, the results will not be of the highest, right? So we have to come from a place of awareness and what we can cut out of our lives and what we can add to our lives, right? Or replace what we've cut out with, in order to fortify ourselves against unwarranted attacks as well. So I hope this video helped to shed some light on the energies, the upcoming eclipse energies for this full moon happening on October 18th and 19th. Before I leave you, I want to talk to you about this one mantra that I've also discussed in other videos that I absolutely love. And if it's practiced daily, actually, it would be better. But if you want to use it during this eclipse season, and especially during the moon, it can be very powerful and protective, all right? And before I go over the mantra, I wanted to thank everybody for your viewership. Please do subscribe if you haven't subscribed, like and share this video so that it gets more circulation. I do appreciate it. And if you would like a reading with me, I generally do not do readings around eclipse time because the light of the luminaries is obscured. So when, as a jyotishi, someone who is a vehicle for the light, we want to make sure that whatever information comes through is of the highest and the clearest. But I will start doing readings again, probably starting at the end of December, and if not, then in January. So feel free to drop me an email at visionaryveda@gmail.com, and we can get you scheduled for that. So as usual, enjoy the life. And here is a happy eclipse, and here's the mantra that I wish to share with you. It's one that I've shared before, and this is how it goes. It goes, Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Asatoma Sat Gamaya. Deliver us, Om, deliver us from the false to the real, from the untruth to the truth. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. From unawareness, ignorance, into light, illumination. Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. From death to immortality. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace. So I'd like to end this video with that mantra. And please say it with me if you feel like it, okay? Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Okay, with that, I'd like to bid you a very happy eclipse full moon. Stay centered, stay stable, don't make any drastic actions or decisions. Enjoy the life, my friends. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time. Bye-bye.